and welcome to episode 10, I believe, of For Ilyse. This week we are coming up on St. Patrick's Day. So I decided to tell the story of St. Patrick, and I'd like to introduce you to some special guests who are going to help me tell the story today. This is Fido Pop the Frog. He will be playing St. Patrick. I've been the eagle you've met. This is a pig. I think his name is Copernicus. Oh wait, no, that's this guy. She's going to be Patrick's mother. This is Miss Amurica. Our pirate crew of Irishmen. Here are our Irish raiders. And here is Fernando the teddy bear. So without further ado, let's get to the story. Once upon a time, far away in the land we now call England or Great Britain, there lived a holy deacon, Calpurnius by name, and his lovely wife. The two of them had a son named Patrick. He was a happy boy, full of energy, and loving all things green. They were a very happy family, as you can see, until one day a group of Irish marauders appeared on the scene. They kidnapped Patrick and stole him away to faraway Ireland. Poor Patrick became the slave to his new Irish master. So it was that Patrick found himself having to tend his master's cows, or livestock, in the beautiful green land of Ireland, where vegetables grow by the bowlful, and broccoli gets as big as trees. Hey, no, not over there. This way. For 6 years, Patrick continued to herd his master's livestock. During that time, Patrick began more and more to focus on his faith. Every day he would pray to God more and more fervently. It gave him something to think about besides the slavery and the hopelessness of being caught in this life as a shepherd that he hadn't chosen and could see no way out of. Today, we still have a very famous prayer known as the Breastplate of St. Patrick, in which Patrick calls for the power of God to come to save him, and then he calls on the power of nature. He calls on the wind, on the sun, and all these things, because he says these are all created by God, and these are all examples of God's power. That appreciation of nature is very big in St. Patrick's understanding, and I think it started when he was a shepherd. Well, back to the story. One day, when St. Patrick was asleep, I'm trying to sleep, go away. Patrick had a dream, and in this dream, God appeared to him and told him, "Go that way. There's a ship waiting for you to escape." Patrick woke, not knowing what had happened. It seemed like God had appeared to him. In his excitement, he ran off to see if the ship could really be there. And what do you know? Lo and behold, there was a ship. St. Patrick eagerly hopped on board. Once on board, the journey certainly wasn't easy. The seas were wild and stormy, and the voyage was long. On his way back to England, he nearly starved to death. And in fact, briefly, he was captured by some pirates. But he managed to escape. And finally, after much long, Patrick found his way home to his parents. They were overjoyed to see their son and couldn't believe that he was back home to them safely after 6 long years. But the adventure wasn't over. Patrick was happy to be home. The adventure wasn't over. Patrick was happy to be home. But one day, while Patrick was asleep, he had another dream. Very special dreams. Some of them were sent directly by God. In this dream, Patrick received a letter that was written to him by someone named Victorious, I believe. And as Patrick was reading this letter, he could hear the voices of Irishmen begging him to come to be in their land. Please, we don't want to be killing each other. We don't like human sacrifice, even though we do it. We don't want to be always at war. Please teach us a better way of life. Patrick was very deeply moved by the pleas of these Irishmen in his dream. He woke up all a-shivering, somewhat jumpy with excitement, but he wasn't so sure about this call. He said, I'm not very educated. I spent 6 years being a shepherd. I don't think I'd be very good at this. And so he kind of tried to keep the call to himself. But, as you may be able to tell, Patrick wasn't the best at keeping his mouth shut. And eventually, he did end up telling his parents, and he did end up telling everyone else. And finally, after a long, affectionate goodbye to his parents, Patrick set off again for the green lands of Ireland, where vegetables grow by the bowlful. Once he arrived in Ireland, St. Patrick was so filled with enthusiasm for the Lord and for the people of Ireland that he simply could not keep his mouth shut. In those days, the people of Ireland used to bow down and worship before many natural beings that they believed were gods, such as trees and mountains and cliffs. This particular cliff is chocolate brownie flavored. I mean, what's not to worship? But Patrick simply came to speak to them with such zeal and fervor and told them that there is in heaven one giant teddy bear, God, who is even greater than these natural formations, whom they should worship above all. He told them of his goodness and love, and they scratched their heads and said, what is this guy talking about? But God gave St. Patrick the power to work great miracles in order to show that there really was a God in heaven who was all-powerful. St. Patrick found a man who was dead. I don't know the exact story. All it says is that he raised the dead. And by the power of God, St. Patrick was able to raise them back to life. And jumping for joy, he came back to tell the Irish about the glory of God. And now they finally started to believe. And one by one, St. Patrick converted all the souls in Ireland to the faith. Man and beast alike, they all flocked to hear his sermons. One legend says that St. Patrick decided to explain the Trinity by using a shamrock. That is a 3-leafed spinach, clover. He picked it and explained that in the Catholic faith, there are 3 persons, but only one God. Just as on the clover there are 3 leaves. 1, 2, 3. But only one stem. Well, this particular 3-leafed spinach has 3 stems, but we will ignore that fact. Yes, 3-leafed spinach. And jumping for joy for the glory of God, Patrick convinced the hearts of the people. Now, it wasn't easy. It wasn't like everyone converted at once. There were definitely angry people who didn't believe and wanted to kill those who believed. But the people were so filled with faith in God that they were willing to even die before denying their faith. St. Patrick is known to have delivered a heartfelt, touching speech saying goodbye to some who were preparing to die for their faith. And St. Patrick himself was captured at least once and thrown into chains. But somehow he always managed to get away and continued preaching to the Irish people. There is one legend about St. Patrick which says that there were many venomous snakes in Ireland, and St. Patrick drove them all out. Well, after driving out all those snakes, St. Patrick was very tired and getting old. And he went to Saul, a place in Ireland, and died peacefully. A priest or deacon, I believe, named Tussock gave him his last rites. Hope you enjoyed the story of St. Patrick. Fido Puck will now take a bow. This was definitely in the style of VeggieTales, although VeggieTales is a lot better done. So if you want to hear more extremely silly stories, don't forget to check out VeggieTales as our characters take a bow. Mm.